Hi everyone, this is Alok Patnia, managing partner at Tax Mantra Global. I've got Rahul with me. He's a partner at Tax Mantra Global. Tax Mantra Global is a global tax and legal firm providing tax and advisory and compliance and regulatory compliance services in India, US, and Singapore. Uh, Today, we are discussing a very interesting and important topic, and which is taxation on digital business. Now, in the last 3.5, 4 years, a lot has changed in that segment in the sense that equalization levy came about in 2016, initially with 6% on the online advertisement made to non-residents. So any foreign payments which we make to Google, Facebook, or other online advertisement vendors, if we are making the payment in foreign exchange, we need to deduct equalization levy of 6%. So that basically meant that Google and Facebook, which earn advertising revenues, they were into the tax net. In Finance Act 2020 has widened the scope of equalization levy to include e-commerce supply of goods and services also. Now, there is also a challenge between government and multinational companies, wherein governments are also becoming a party to these tax laws over the tax liabilities in India. uh, Amazon, Flipkart, Netflix, all foreign players operating in India. So it will become very interesting to note how equalization levy will play an important and very interesting role, and how it will impact the global international taxation regime. With this note and thought, I invite Rahul, who would dig deep into the chapter and the subject and help us to understand more on the equalization levy. Hi, Rahul. So I welcome you. You can start your presentation.
Thank you. Thanks, Alok. Good evening, everyone.
And
So,
just so we are also live on Facebook and YouTube, and hundreds of our friends and clients, they are watching us. And please feel to ping your query if you have any, and we will be happy to take your query here itself. In Zoom room also, I see a lot of people there. So please put in your query in the chat box, and we will be more than happy to answer those queries. So over to you, Rahul. Please help us to understand this.
thanks, Alok. So, before going into the presentation, would like to will like to go a bit into the past that what was the intent behind bringing in equalization levy. So, equalization levy, for our understanding, is part of the Income Tax Act. It's part of the direct taxes laws which we have in India, but it is not purely income tax. When I say it's not purely income tax, the reason why I say that is because income tax is usually available for credits for foreign companies. If there is an income tax which we have deducted or withheld for a foreign company, the foreign company or the foreign person would get the credit of it in their country of origin. It is governed by the Income Tax Act. The normal income tax is governed by the Income Tax Act and is also part of the double taxation avoidance treaty which India has with more than 180 countries. However, equalization levy, even though is part of the Income Tax Act, it's different from Income Tax Act. So, first of all, there is no credit of equalization levy available. So, this is an additional tax burden which has come up on whomever it applies. So, a bit more background into it. This tax is also known as Google tax. It was initially known as Google tax. So, there are large multinational companies like Google and as Alok mentioned. Few other names, wherein these companies they have set up a structure wherein they have incorporated themselves in a tax haven or a jurisdiction where they either pay nil taxes or very low they pay very low taxes. However, the amount of payment which goes into these companies from countries like India is huge. So there's a huge user base in India, and there is a huge number of payers and subscribers of the services, be it Google Ads, be it Facebook, LinkedIn, and being in uh, being in low tax jurisdiction, these companies they were not paying taxes anywhere literally. So even the OECD guidelines have spoken about the base erosion, and there are many countries who have come up with this concept of equalization levy, wherein they started taxing the income of these companies in their country itself, because anyway these countries like India were not able to tax, and huge income was accruing there. Uh, so there are two parts to it. One is the direct taxes, the income tax, and the second is the service tax or indirect taxes. So for import of services, the even the service tax regime had the concept of reverse charge mechanism, wherein for importing the services, the person who is importing, usually the companies and businesses in India, they were required to pay service tax, and from 2012 onwards, and from 2017 under the GST regime also. uh, Under the GST regime, the imports attract GST. However, income tax was not chargeable in these cases, because under the double taxation avoidance agreement which India has with various countries, the online advertisement space there and similar payments, they were considered as business profit and not fees for technical services. We'll come to it a bit more once we understand more about equalization. I'll come back again to this point that how it was not taxable earlier and what the government is trying to do. So in this presentation, we'll see the overview on equalization levy, its applicability and non-applicability, the payments, compliances, the changes which have happened from 1st April 2020, and what companies should be careful about. So yeah, the first time equalization levy came into India was through the Finance Act 2016. In the budget 2016, it was introduced, and the first proposal was relating to 6% equalization levy, which was charged on non-resident companies who were engaged in business of online advertisement and related activities. So mainly online advertisement and selling of time slots was something on which this equalization levy was introduced. And then from 1st April 2020 onwards, the scope has been increased to cover the e-commerce operator, the non-resident e-commerce operators who are doing in business from e-commerce supply of goods or services. On them also it has been made applicable. So the 2016 Finance Act, wherein the equalization levy was introduced, so it was 6% on, as I mentioned earlier, online advertisement and any provision of digital advertising space on which it was charged. So Alok, if you remember, uh, like normally foreign payments which businesses, if they do in India, they have to go through the 15 CACB compliances and TDS deductions.
Yeah.
So ideally, if it is a fees for technical and professional service, there is a even as per the Income Tax Act and as per the most of the double taxation avoidance agreement in which India has, there is at least a 10% withholding tax on fees for professional and technical services. However, based on various judgments and analysis of various case laws, this online advertisement and selling of slots, time slots, and digital advertisement space, uh, this has come out of the definition of fees for technical service. Now, these are no longer considered as fees for technical and professional services. And if India has a double taxation avoidance agreement, these payments they get covered under the business profit for the companies who are earning it. So in that scenario, even if there is a 15 CACB compliance which the company does, based on certain requirements. If the company who is providing the services from outside India, if they fulfill certain criteria of not having a permanent establishment in India and having a tax residency certificate in their from their country of origin, in those scenarios the TDS would be nil. So from an income tax perspective, the income tax department was not earning any taxes from these payments, and the amount was humongous.
Yeah.
So first in 2016, it was introduced for online advertisement and provision of digital advertising space related services, and the burden was on the company who is making the payment to deduct 6% equalization levy and then make the payments. However, uh, even though it was supposed to be deduction on the payment being made, because these companies, the likes of Google's and Facebook, they are such large companies, and their dependency is so unique that at the end of the day, it was the Indian businesses who had to bear the cost in most of the cases, and this was an additional cost burden which we can say that came on the Indian businesses, even though technically it has to be deducted from the payments which have to be made.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what was there in 2016 onwards, and it's still there. And over and above that, as we discussed, from 1st April 2020 onwards, it has been introduced on e-commerce operator services.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll discuss how on what in what scenarios this has become applicable. So a non-resident e-commerce operator who owns, operate, or manages a digital or electronic facility or a platform for online sale of goods or online provision of services. So we should be careful about it. This is not only about services. Even if it is a e-commerce operator through the online platform, if services are provided or if goods are supplied, in both the cases, this new change in the equalization levy effective from 1st April 2020, they become applicable. And yeah, the e-commerce operator, when they derive revenue from e-commerce supplies of goods or services, and the services are provided either to a person who is resident in India or to a non-resident, if sale of advertising which targets a customer who is a resident in India, or a customer who accesses the advertising is resident in India, or sale of data collected from a person who is resident in India, or a person who buys goods or services or both using internet protocol address located in India. So when a foreign or a non-resident e-commerce operator or an online business provider, they provide the services, and services are such that it is either made directly to a person who is resident in India. So goods or services are sold to a person resident in India, or even if it is advertisement and it is consumed in India, or the data collected from a person, if that data is of people who are resident in India, uh, or a person who is ordering, if that person is using a IP address of India, if the person who is ordering, even if he is ordering for outside India, still if the person is sitting in India and through an Indian IP is ordering it, still these provision they attract, and equalization levy becomes applicable on such transactions for a e-commerce operator. What are the cases where it's not applicable? So if the non-resident providing the specified services or supplying the goods has a permanent establishment in India, and the specified service is effectively connected with such permanent establishment. So normally, if a non-resident is providing these services through a permanent establishment, then equalization levy does not come into picture, because anyway the Indian government, the Indian tax department will be taxing the permanent establishment and its income. So they have been excluded from a levy of equalization levy. Indian residents are anyway excluded from it because they are taxpayers in India, and even foreign residents and non-residents who have permanent establishment or base in India and they are paying taxes through that permanent establishment, they are out of equalization levy.
So
And
Rahul, just one query at this point of time. So Facebook registering their subsidiary in India, does that tantamount to a P in India?
so that will have to be seen depending upon what kind of arrangement Facebook is doing through its permanent establishment, what kind of structure they are having. But what I understand is that in India, in most of the businesses, the Indian subsidiary of Facebook has started directly billing to those companies. So if the Indian entity, the Indian subsidiary is billing in INR or even if in foreign currency, but if it is a India address and the India business which is billing, then
Hmm.
in those cases, it's a domestic sale. The Indian company is an Indian tax resident. So in those cases, the equalization levy does not come into picture. These were so the whole objective of bringing in this concept of equalization levy and taxes in India, a reverse charge under the GST norms, is to incentivize these companies to set up base in India, provide services through the Indian entity, and pay taxes in India. So if the India Facebook subsidiary is providing the services and billing is happening through them, revenue is earned there, and they are paying taxes in India, filing their returns in India, then there is no need of charging equalization levy, and that is why we don't have equalization levy in such cases. And to answer your
But Rahul,
question, yeah.
it's very difficult to find out because we are not privy to the information where what kind of services the subsidiary of Facebook will be doing in India. The only thing which we know that we get invoices in India in Indian currency with GST. So does that is sufficient to say that there is no equalization levy if there is a GST invoice which we get?
Yeah, so if it's an India address invoice, if it is an India address invoice in INR, that is a sufficient reason, I think, to believe that it is the Indian entity or the Indian permanent establishment who is doing this. So I think that serves the purpose.
Okay. Okay, fine, fine.
Okay. So the new development which has come from 1st April 2020 onwards, charging GST on the e-commerce operator. They in those cases, if the e-commerce operator has a permanent establishment in India, they are not required to comply. Uh, Second, if 6% equalization levy under the online advertisement space, which was already there since 2016, if that is being paid, then over and above that, 2% equal for e-commerce operator, that is not required to be paid. What it means is that only one under one head that has to be paid. Uh, and third, when the e-commerce operator has a turnover of less than 2 crores in a financial year. So it is applicable to non-resident e-commerce operators who have a turnover of 2 crore rupees or more in a financial year. So then it becomes applicable. And one more thing, Alok, to answer your query is that this particular responsibility of paying the equalization levy of 2% is on the e-commerce operator. So the consumers and the businesses who are taking the services, they need not be concerned about it. The government has moved the responsibility of making these payments to the e-commerce operator entity. They have to comply with it. Like the earlier equalization levy which we were discussing about, the 6%, it was the responsibility of the consumer, the businesses who received the services, to comply with this the 6% equalization levy, do the deduction from the payment, and on a monthly basis pay it to the government and file the returns. However, in case of e-commerce operator, it's the otherwise. The consumers need not worry. The operator, the government will target the operators and will check with them if they have complied with it or not. So equalization levy deducted from the amount paid or payable in respect of specified services shall be paid by every assessee to the credit of central government by 7th day of the month immediately following the said calendar month. So this is the rule for online advertisement. This we are talking about 6% equalization levy, in which there is a monthly compliance requirement, and the receiver of service, he has to deduct 6% and pay it on a monthly basis, and also file an annual return by 30th of June of the subsequent financial year. Similarly, for the e-commerce operator, the government has made the rule for quarterly payment of equalization levy. The e-commerce, the non-resident e-commerce operators, they have to pay the levy amount by 7th of the subsequent month from the end of the quarter. So for the 4 quarters, we have 4 specific due dates. For March quarter, it's the 31st March itself. For other quarters, it's the 7th of the subsequent month. And even the e-commerce operators, they are required to file the return, annual return by 30th June of the subsequent financial year. We'll have a look at the consequences for non-compliance of the provisions related to equalization levy. So the government has prescribed a 1% interest for delay of every month of payment or part of the month. So whatever month there is a delay in payment as per the scheduled due date, 1% interest would be there. And over and above this, there is a penalty of 1,000 rupee for every day of delay, and that penalty is limited to the maximum amount of equalization levy liability for that particular month. So there is a risk of both interest payment and penalty payment in case of failure of compliance of equalization levy related filing of returns, and both monthly returns for 6% EQL, quarterly returns for 2% e-commerce related EQL, and also this applies to the annual returns. So in both the cases, there are annual returns, and for delay in annual returns, there is a 1,000 rupee per day of penalty. Further, for businesses who are required to pay 6% equalization levy, deduct and pay 6% equalization levy on the business expense related to online advertisement and digital space, if the compliance was required to be done and it is not done, then as per the section 40A IB of the Income Tax Act, such expenses shall be disallowed while filing the income tax return. So if equalization levy compliance was required and it is not done, the expense will not be allowed as an expense as per the Income Tax Act while filing the income tax return. And if someone says that they have made the payment without deducting the equalization levy, that also is not considered as an excuse. So if someone has not deducted, then they are responsible to pay the equalization levy from their pocket. The business who has this responsibility to pay, it will be an additional burden on the business. So either they deduct from the service provider or they pay from their own pocket. So here also it's the same. We are discussing two kinds of equalization levy. One is the 6% one, and the other is 2% for the e-commerce operator. So here also, in case of e-commerce operators, also it's a 1% interest and 1,000 rupee per day of penalty for non-compliances. So this chart shows that what was there earlier, like from 2016 onwards till 31st March 2020, and after this amendment from 1st April 2020, what has changed. So earlier it was applicable on businesses who were receiving the services from foreign companies on account of digital advertisement and related transactions and selling of time slots. And it was 6% on the aggregate amount of consideration, and the monthly compliances was required, and there was a basic exemption of 1 lakh rupee. So if the amount of total aggregate value of the services in the year was not crossing 1 lakh rupee, the compliance for equalization levy was not required to be done and is not required to be done. This is still applicable. Sorry for saying was again. So this particular clause still remains there. And from 1st April 2020, it also includes its base has been expanded to include the non-resident e-commerce operators who are engaged in the online sale of goods or services or both. And the percentage of equalization levy is 2% here on the aggregate amount of consideration received by such e-commerce operator. And the compliance requirement for them is quarterly, and they have a basic exemption limit of up to 2 crore rupees, wherein for gross receipts of 2 crores, they are not required to comply with the equalization levy related clauses. So with this in mind, what should the businesses and companies do who are engaged in this in digital space and related businesses? So they'll have to see their customer and vendor contracts to provision for this particular additional expense, whether their foreign service provider is ready to take that hit or they have to take this hit. And if you are an e-commerce operator, then your consumer and supplier contracts will have to be seen and the business model has to be analyzed, especially for e-commerce operators with this 2% additional cost. They'll have to rework on these things. And again, yeah, assess the preparedness for the support needed to implement the equalization levy. So the monthly or quarterly filings with the tax authorities, the annual return filings, and the required technological updates to meet the compliance requirement. This is what the companies should prepare themselves and take care of these compliances. So for the e-commerce operator for the first quarter ending 30th June, April 1st April to 30th June, 7th July was the due date to do the compliances. If some companies have not done it, they'll have to do this with the late filing immediately. So I think, yeah, that was it on the equalization levy part. So any will be open for any questions. Alok, if you have any views, you would want to add anything to this.
So, thanks, Rahul, for a very comprehensive and knowledgeable presentation. We have to see how this pans out because foreign governments are also trying to see that. So every government wants to ensure that their businesses are not being taxed excessively. So that's one part. So, but this law has become a very stringent law, and any expense which on advertising and advertisement was earlier under the levy of equalization. Now that has been stretched to e-commerce also. And initially, when it was implemented, it was on the basis of equalization. The name also says to equalize because the government was of view that Indian uh, advertising agencies were at loss because foreign advertising agencies can raise invoices without and they at a benefit. So because Indian agencies were raising taxes and those things, so to have a level playing field, they introduced this. But I think we it will be very interesting to see in future how this pans out,
This
considering.
is into a lot of discussion and consideration these days. So many countries have introduced this, and especially to target the large MNCs who are operating from low tax jurisdictions and not paying taxes in the countries where they are earning revenues, large revenues. And so a few days back, I read somewhere that even this is part of the trade deal discussion between India and the US. And even our Industry and Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, he was of the view that 2% equalization levy is a reasonable levy, and that should be acceptable to the trade bodies and also to the foreign countries. So what I understand that this is something which is into a lot of discussion between many foreign governments and tax authorities. So I personally foresee some changes coming in from the compliance perspective, or from where the what all things are covered under this, and what is the percentage of this equalization levy. Because the new introduction of 2% on e-commerce operator, so that gives exemption to the entities on which this 2% is being charged, to be free from any other taxes which they would be liable to pay in India. I would not say not all other taxes, but especially the income tax. So if a e-commerce operator, they start paying 2% equalization levy on their total consideration earned from India, then they are not required to report or pay taxes in India from a income tax perspective. So this is something, uh, what I understand is that under a huge discussion and negotiation, and we may get some amendments or some changes, some announcements around this in the near future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I also feel that way, and let's see how this pans out. As I said, however, thanks for the presentation, and uh, as I said, there were a couple of questions which I asked you at the very start of the webinar, in terms of when you decide you need to do equalization levy or not, whether you get a credit of equalization. So Ravi is asking whether you actually get a credit of equalization levy. So I think you rightly said that there is no credit to us, that this is completely a expense tax. So I think with this, if there is any specific questions, you can mail us at uh, our email ID or our website, and we will be more than happy to answer your queries. Uh, and I think that's it for today. I hope you are taking good care of yourself and your family. And thanks, Rahul, for the webinar today and for the presentation. And thanks everyone for joining in.
Yeah, thanks, Alok. I think we missed one question from Ashwin. Ashwin was asking about if 51C of would stand the test of equalization levy. Will it stand the test of Article 51C of the Constitution? So, Ashwin, there are so many countries are implementing it, and this is based on the OECD guidelines which they are doing it. So this is something which is acceptable. Like there is a general discussion between uh, the low tax jurisdiction and the countries who want to tax the revenues, large scale revenues. So this is a global phenomena, and many countries are implementing it. So I don't see any challenge related to the treaty or Section 51C of the article getting questioned because of this equalization.
So yeah, so Abraham, we do a lot of webinars on setting up in foreign countries. In fact, we do a lot of webinars on US and Singapore. So do let us know if you want. We can forward you a webinar recording for Singapore and US. We will do that, and we will keep you posted in case we are bringing in more webinar on foreign setting up. I think so. That's it today. Rahul, thanks again. Thanks everyone for joining in on Facebook, on YouTube, and our Zoom attendees. We will come back with more webinars, and we'll keep you posted. Thanks for joining everyone.
Thank you, Alok. Thanks everyone for joining.